I haven't done a gun show panic buying report in a long time. I did one video, it's got a huge amount of hits when this Covid-19 coronavirus outbreak took off about a month or so ago. And it kind of has sparked another panic buying session. But there is a bit of a difference than back, say, I don't know, 6-10 years ago when the Democrats were in power, and every time there was a tragedy they thought they'd ban and bring back the assault rifle ban, and it was crazy. Prices would go up, down, ammunition, there was a shortage of ammunition forever. Well, once President Trump got elected, it's like it all just stopped. And then next thing you know, there's tons of ammo that's not selling. The price of an AR-15. Now this is probably, I'd say I'll use it as a litmus test. It is a popular gun. The AR-15 rifle. Now this is the platform that is in most demand, okay? And it's kind of funny over the past 10-15 years how this changed in terms of price and availability. So let's roll back the clock, okay? Say 10-15 years ago. The average price of a generic AR-15 was about $700, okay? Now, at the time, when communism fell and all of these Eastern European countries were going into NATO, they were changing over, and when they joined NATO, they had to use the NATO caliber, which is the 5.56. So this is an AK-74 base, but all the AK-47s designs in the old 7.62 and all the new, more modern AK-74 designs, like which this was a parts kit in that small Russian caliber, I can't remember its designation. What they did is they cut the guns up and brought them in as parts kits. So in other words, the receiver was destroyed, but your barrel and everything was there. And all the magazines, web gear, and all the stuff for it all come onto the surplus market by the truckload. At that time, whether you could get a parts kit for like $110 and then build your own gun, it would come out with time and effort, come out to about $300 to build one, okay? You could go buy them, they were importing them, and you could buy, I think they were made either in Hungary, Yugoslavia, the former Yugoslavia or something. You could buy an AK style rifle for $400 when the AR was $7. So these things were, everybody had one, everybody, and there was a panic buying back in '09 or something, and I mean AK-47s were the gun everybody went to. The ammunition, the magazines were cheap, plentiful. It was a three-ring circus. Now, today, 2020, an AK-47 style rifle, I've seen at gun shows $800 to $1,000 for one of these. They were as common as dirt at one time. Now the going price what people have on them is about anywhere from $800 to $1,000. So while this went on, and this, people were churning out all these AR-15 barrels, lower receivers, the price dropped to where now an AR-15, or before all this happened, $400, you could get a very generic, plain Jane AR rifle with no sights, flat top, no sights, about $400. When the virus kicked in and the panic started, everything's gone. You go to the gun stores, I went to them about a couple weeks ago, and the shelves are empty other than all the really, you know, $12, $15, $2,000 items are the only things left. They got cleaned out of everything, not so much assault rifles, but everything, shotguns. The only thing else that didn't sell out is bolt action hunting rifles. They're still there. Well, you know, a lot of the stores still have them in stock. But pump shotguns, any type of assault style gun and handguns are gone. So we had another big craze and panic buying. So now we get through this, and gun shows have been closed, because most gun shows are in a municipal building controlled by the city or the state, and they're all shut down. Okay, because the stay-at-home order they're doing, because they're directly connected with the government. Like I said, if the governor says shut down your auditoriums, your meeting halls, and that, you do. So gun shows are closed. Now I made a video saying, hey, this is like a war, World War III, and it is. Now recently, Friday, they lifted the stay-at-home order, started phase 1. And again, it's haphazard, there's nobody enforcing this. So one of the flea markets was open, one of the larger ones that's close to me. So I went there, and it was first day was slow because nobody really knew it was open on Saturday, but Sunday was pretty brisk, I was busy. What everyone is looking for. Now, flea market, you can buy anything from clothes, office equipment, household items, and some people sell food in that there, guns, ammo, tools. You can buy chickens and dogs or whatever. It's just capitalism, just wide open at the flea market. But in terms of guns now, what everybody was looking for the AR-15 and the ammunition for AR-15s, SKSs, because there's millions of them out there, and AK-47s, and all your common handgun ammo, 9mm, 380, 38 and 357 Magnum are kind of popular, then 45 ACP, and least of all is 40mm. Okay, for some reason it is not a very popular caliber, and the ammunition is expensive. So you ask yourself, what makes these guns popular, or why is there such a demand? Okay, now you could go with, like I'm in the middle of building here, these SL308s, I believe, or the DPMS version of the AR-10. As you can see, it's not completed yet, because this is where the panic buying comes in. Not so much for guns you go and buy in the gun shop, but those of us who do 80%, the 80% community, be it AR-15s, AR-10s, or the Polymer 80 Glock pistol kits, which is extremely popular. All of this stuff can be ordered through the mail, because none of it is a registerable firearm in the condition that it's in. So this is why it's kind of popular, and those of us with a skill set to do it, or have something set up where they have build parties with little CNC machines and cut them out, it's become a popular thing. It's also become a target of several different proposed laws banning all this, including our other friend, the solvent trap, which is a wildly popular item, and anytime I make a video about this thing in any way, shape, or form, gets a whole bunch of views. So, we've seen it morph into some weird thing, and like I said, going back to where I said it's like we're at war. When I went to the flea market, a lot of people didn't know. They said some of the flea markets were open and never closed all this month. But they were an hour and a half, almost 2-hour drive for me to get there, and I ain't into it that much that I travel that far, on a chance of maybe selling something, okay? It's kind of strange. But now the flea market's open, and then you hear these rumors. One guy, I heard there's a gun show open. Well, I just went and checked. The one local guy, or the one guy that does a lot of them, he does them in Virginia, North Carolina, I think a few down South Carolina, C&E gun shows. He had one in another 2 weeks scheduled for Winston-Salem, and he said it's verified. I went on the listing, verified, but I went to his actual website and looked at the schedule, and that one has with red letters rescheduled. So they're not opening. There was also a show, it's not so much a gun show, it's a military show. This is the one, it's twice a year in Raleigh. And you could go, there's uniforms, helmets, swords, medals, badges, and guns. It's all military. Around here it's one of the only ones that does that. Just basically a military or collector's show. Not so much per se a gun show. He just sent an email notification the other day that the show in June has been canceled. He's canceled it. And that is at the State Fairgrounds in Raleigh, North Carolina, okay? So they're not open, and they don't intend to be open. He's refunding people's deposits that have put a deposit down on the table. So I heard a rumor, the guys talk, well, I heard they opened this gun show and they let so many in or something, and he said he went to one, and that's another venue. There's a guy that does a venue, and he does one just about every weekend. The venue is small, okay? It's about maybe a quarter size than any other normal gun show. Very small venue. He rents small places, volunteer fire department halls, and a lot of the National Guard armories, which it's basically the size of a basketball court, put it to you that way, the room, the hall. So, small amount of vendors, whatever, but he covers the whole state and does one just about every weekend. Now, I guess he was trying to slip them in somehow or something, and if you go to some of these far-flung places out, we're not talking Raleigh or any major city like Charlotte or Winston-Salem or Greensboro. You're talking these little townships out in the middle of nowhere. I think he kind of gets away with it, limiting the people, and has something. But then again, that's a rumor. I don't know. I'm not driving out, until, Nowhere USA to check this out and, have 20, 30 vendors there. Maybe there's something, maybe not. So basically, gun shows, or the large ones, are still non-existent. Okay, as long as your bars and bingo halls and that are closed and restricted, you're not going to see that. So gun shows are kind of non-existent. The flea market, pace is brisk. People are coming out. It's open air. We're not inside. We're on the outside. The inside part, people that have the permanent vendors inside the building, like little shops and stuff, that is still closed. But the outdoor, out in the open, is open. So it's how it kind of looks. But the demand is there. Now, what I'm finding out about, that's why these guns are partially completed. It's getting harder to get the parts. Many places online have been swamped, sold out. So getting anything is difficult. Certain things are not available. I was able to get barrels for AR-15s at a reasonable, they're all gone. The only thing you're going to go top of the line, same thing with any components, be it bolt carrier groups or whatever, only the more expensive ones are in stock. Anything that was kind of down on the bottom range, bottom tier, is gone. It used to be people advertising the Anderson receivers, lower receivers completed. You get them transferred through your FFL. Another problem is getting stuff transferred to your FFL. If the gun store is closed, there's nobody to do the paperwork. Okay? Pawn shops, I guess they close them. Maybe some of these guys with small shops working out of their house, where you just go there to see them, are still open, but a lot of people are having difficulty picking things up at their transfer dealer because they are closed. Okay? And if you go to the chain stores, they charge you like $50 for a transfer. Like any of the department stores, they want a very large sum of money. So this kind of put a damper on it. The availability of 80% are up and down. There's a lot of sales. There's a lot of components that come on. but the situation is iffy. And like I said, nobody knows for sure. A lot of rumors, a lot of nonsense. Until we get in, I guess, in a few more weeks to another phase and see things open up a bit more, there is kind of a shortage. But one thing I do know, the AR-15 rifle platform is in high demand at this time. So we got another rush on for this type of gun. And like I said, all the 80% stuff, solvent traps, all that, there is legislation coming up. It has not been passed into a law, but the bills are out there. Other channels will tell you about these bills that are in Congress or whatever coming up in the laws. They're looking to ban and outlaw it, and this is what's making people go out and buy more. Okay? So that's kind of the situation as it is. And another thing, say you're a collector. Let's cover something else. I have here this nice antique piece. Okay, another thing I'm finding out. This here is old Italian Vetterli 1870/78 rifle. Collectible knife. This is in excellent shape. And so, you know, on the old collectibles, let's say a realistic price on this would be $600-700 in this condition. Okay. I've seen these on the gun broker listed at $1,200, $1,500. I think even one $1,700. Okay. Some people wouldn't give you $100 for the damn thing. All right. The collectible guns and that always are affected. And with this economy crashing down, if you go out and look, a lot of listings and that, there's a lot of people dumping or trying to sell. Some pretty unusual, hard to find collectible guns are coming up for sale with pretty high-end price tag, but some of them you do not see for sale that often. If you wanted to purchase one even in bad condition, they're just rare. They're just not found. Okay. Gun collecting is different than the panic gun buying. The reason why people buy the AR-15 is more because the gun's not expensive, the ammunition is not that expensive, okay? And they're more willing to purchase this readily than, say, even the 308 version. I've told a guy, you know, I'm working with 308 versions. If you want to build one, I said, I got the tooling, I could build it for you. No, I don't want that, the ammunition's too expensive and this and that, so it's not as popular. Same with collectible guns. There are people that are serious collectors. There are people that, to them, that gun is worthless and not worth anything and something they're totally disinterested in. So you have two different phases. You have the general populace buying stuff for home defense and the panic and the crisis, they want this, okay? Where if you have built over time a really nice collection of rare guns, it's kind of difficult to get, I can't say impossible, but it's not going to be easy to turn your collection and your work into a fair price, or, you know, to make out on it. So the situation is funny, and of course nobody knows what's going to happen in the next few months. Okay, in the fall they said when the flu season comes out, this is all going to start all over again. Is this going to make prices come up? Is ammunition going to be available? And that's another thing. Ammunition is starting to become available online. I've been getting emails from the wholesalers and the places that sell you the stuff by the case. But the prices are higher. Okay? Gunpowder, components, it's kind of was spotty at first. Now that everybody kind of calmed down, I found powders and stuff I can order, okay, and get. A lot of people don't like to do that because they just want 1 pound of powder, and they don't want to pay the hazmat fees. To have, like, if you buy 2 pounds of powder, you're paying almost what a pound of powder costs in a hazmat fee. Okay, so that's why if you do buy, you must buy a lot of it. Okay, and some people just won't do that, so it's difficult for them to get reloading supplies. I have found primers locally, and I bought, 2,000-3,000 here and there for small pistol, small rifle, whatever. So it's not quite terrible in terms of getting some things. Depends on your locale or how you're going to go about buying it. Okay. If you go with mail order, and then another thing now, it's coming down with everybody, even Patreon, you're going to be charged sales tax to the state of your residence on any transaction, be it ordering, reloading supplies or anything. They are charging sales tax for any sales. It's kind of a universal thing. So say I buy something from a mail order house in North Dakota, okay, when he sells, or Graffs is out in Arizona. Graffs is a place. He's got a chart, he looks at my address, he must charge whatever the percent, I think it's 6.5 for North Carolina, he has to charge me sales tax, okay, and it varies from state to state. But you are going to be charged sales tax based on where they're shipping the items, okay. That's something else that's new, which drives the cost of everything up for everyone. It used to be pretty neat. I could order, if I ordered $400 or $500 worth of reloading materials from Graffs, it come out pretty good. Actually, other than what, it was cheaper than going to the local retail stores. But now it's sales tax, that's gone, okay? And I think Patreon, that's another thing, I gotta review that. After June or July, if they decide the Patreon donations, I have to pay a sales tax on that. Okay, which you see with the grips coming down, the economy. So there's more to it than just the panic buying. They're also changing the way our economy functions and how you buy things. So that's gonna have an effect on any of this, no matter what part of the shooting sport, gun collecting, or anything that you're involved in. It's going to affect everyone on every level of it. So stay tuned.